In the heart of Lagos, one of the biggest companies in West Africa stood tall, Suncor Technologies, a multi-billion naira empire known for its clean energy innovations and smart home devices. The building sparkled with tinted glass, polished floors, and hundreds of staff dressed in crisp uniforms. But behind the towering gates and glowing signboards was a secret only one man knew, the true owner of Suncor. Mr. Tunde Cole had a plan. He was 33 years old, one of Nigeria's youngest billionaires, but no one knew what he looked like. He had kept a low profile for years, never granting interviews, never posting photos online. Why? Because he was tired of fake love. Every woman he met loved his money, not him. They wanted the fame, the flashy life, the cars, but not his heart. He had been used, lied to, and humiliated by women who pretended to love him but only wanted to enjoy his wealth. So he made a bold decision. "I will pretend to be a poor cleaner in my own company," he told his trusted friend and personal assistant, Femi. "I want to see how people treat me when they don't know who I am. I want to find someone who will love me for me." Femi raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure about this, boss? You'll be mopping floors and cleaning toilets." Tunde smiled. "That's exactly what I need. If she can love me at my lowest, she deserves me at my best." The next morning, the plan began. Tunde cut his fine hair low, wore cheap oversized clothes, rubber slippers, and an old cap. He covered his face with light powder to look darker and older. He even changed his voice to sound rough and broken. He was no longer Mr. Tunde Cole, he was now Musa, the new cleaner at Suncor. When Tunde arrived at the staff gate of Suncor Technologies, he walked up to the security post with calm confidence. One of the guards looked at him closely. "Yes, what are you here for?" "I'm the new cleaner," Tunde replied in a deeper, slightly rough voice. The guard glanced at the ID card in his hand, then pointed toward the building. "Go in and report to the janitorial supervisor, first hallway on your left." Tunde gave a small nod and entered through the gate. Inside the building, the hallways were busy with staff moving quickly from one department to another. People walked past him without a glance. Some glanced at him briefly, then looked away. No one smiled. No one greeted him. When he got to the janitorial office, he knocked and stepped in. A woman behind the desk looked up. Her name tag read, Mrs. Ruth, janitorial lead. "You're the new cleaner." "Yes, Ma. My name is Musa." She gave a slight nod, not bothering to smile. "Your duty area is the ground floor, hallways, lobby, and toilets. The cleaning tools are in the storage room. Get started immediately." "Yes, Ma," Tunde said. He walked over to the supply cupboard, picked up a mop, gloves, broom, and cleaning liquid, and began his first shift. The work was tough. The toilets were unpleasant. The floors were dusty. He bent down, scrubbed surfaces, and mopped hallways in silence. His back began to ache. His hands stung. But he didn't complain. Day after day, Tunde returned each morning. He arrived early and did his job while observing everything around him. Some workers were polite but distant. Others were cold, proud, and unkind. Most ignored him completely. But then, something different happened. One afternoon in the staff cafeteria, Tunde was cleaning a corner when he noticed a young woman sitting alone. She was eating plain rice from a small container. Her shoes were worn, and her handbag strap was patched with thread. Yet, she smiled gently at one of the older cleaners nearby and offered her water. That small act of kindness caught Tunde's attention. Her name was Amaka, a junior assistant in the IT department. She was known for being quiet, respectful, and hardworking. She avoided gossip and minded her own business. As Tunde passed her table, she looked up and smiled. "Good afternoon, sir." He paused for a moment, surprised. "You're talking to me?" "Yes," she replied. I've seen you cleaning this place every day. You work really hard. He smiled. Thank you. That's kind of you. She nodded gently. May God bless your hands. Amen, Tun said. And may he bless yours too. That short moment stayed in his heart all day. It was the first time anyone had shown him respect since he started his journey undercover. Later that evening, Tun sat in his quiet apartment, thinking about what had happened. His assistant, Femi, arrived with food and a cheerful grin. How was your shift today? Femi asked. Tun gave a tired smile. Tough as usual. But something happened. Femi raised an eyebrow. What? I met someone. Her name is Amaka. She looked me in the eye. She smiled. She spoke with respect. Do you think she's genuine? Tun nodded slowly. I don't know yet. But I'm going to find out. If she is, then her life will never be the same. Tund returned to Suncor the next morning with more curiosity than usual. He followed his cleaning routine quietly but paid attention to every movement around the IT department. He wanted to understand more about Amaka, not just how she treated him, but how she lived, how she worked, and how she treated others when no one was watching. By mid-morning, Amaka passed by the hallway while chatting softly with a colleague. Tund paused his cleaning just to watch. She didn't notice him. Her steps were gentle, her tone calm. She didn't try to impress anyone. She looked like someone who had been through a lot but had learned to stay strong through it all. At lunchtime, he saw her again in the cafeteria. She had brought food from home, plain jollof rice neatly packed. She sat in a quiet corner and removed a small bottle of water from her bag. One of the office messengers walked past her, looking tired and sweaty. Without hesitation, Amaka called him over and handed him half of her rice. Take it, she said. I have enough. Tund watched from a distance. That act confirmed what he felt the day before. She was different. He finished his tasks early and returned to the janitorial office to sign out. On his way out, he saw Amaka leaving the building too. He decided to follow from a safe distance. She didn't take a car or bike. She walked. Her pace was steady, her steps light. Tund followed carefully, keeping far behind so she wouldn't notice. She walked about 20 minutes before reaching a quiet street filled with old apartments. She entered a two-story building that looked old but neat. Tund stood across the road, observing the building. So that's where she lives, he said to himself. She walks to work every day. No car. No complaints. He stood there for a while, deep in thought. This was not someone who was pretending. She wasn't putting on a show. She was humble and sincere. That evening, Tund met with Femi again. I followed her today, he said. Femi's eyes widened. You followed her? From a distance. She lives in a small apartment block. She walks all the way to work, no public transport. And she even gave away half of her lunch today. Femi whistled softly. Wow. That's rare. I'm going to do something for her. But quietly. She must never suspect anything yet. What do you have in mind? Tund leaned forward. First, I want to make sure she never goes to bed hungry again. Find out who her landlord is. Pay 6 months rent anonymously. The next morning, Femi returned with an update. I found the landlord. His name is Baba Karim. Old man, very traditional. Doesn't ask questions if the rent is paid on time. Tund nodded. Good. Pay 6 months in full. In cash. Tell him it's a blessing from someone who appreciates her kindness. No names, no stories. Already done, Femi said, handing over a receipt. She won't even know who to thank. Tund smiled. Perfect. Back at Suncor, Tun continued his duties as Musa the cleaner. Every day, he worked hard, unnoticed by most. But he kept an eye on Amaka, watching not to invade her privacy, but to understand her soul. She remained consistent, respectful to elders, kind to messengers, diligent in her work. One afternoon, Tun saw something that shook him. A senior manager, Mr. Owolabi, was berating a young intern loudly in the hallway. The boy looked frightened and embarrassed. While everyone else walked past, Amaka stopped. "Sir, please," she said gently. "It's not fair to shout at him in front of everyone. He's just learning." Mr. Owolabi turned to glare at her. "Mind your business, Miss Amaka." She bowed slightly. "I'm sorry, sir. I just felt the boy deserves to be corrected in private, not humiliated." Tund watched the whole scene. It took courage to speak up, especially in a company like Suncor, where junior staff rarely challenged authority. That evening, he called Femi again. "This woman is gold," Tun said. "She stands up for others, even when it might cost her something." "So, what next?" Femi asked. Tun thought for a moment. "Next, I want to test something." "The test again?" Femi chuckled. "Haven't you tested enough?" "This one is different," Tun said. "Let's see how she reacts to opportunity." 2 days later, a memo was sent from HR. It stated that Amaka had been shortlisted for a special training program in Nairobi, Kenya, fully funded, with a possible promotion on return. Amaka was stunned. She had never applied for any such opportunity. She clutched the letter, confused and thrilled. "Are you sure this is not a mistake?" she asked the HR officer. "No mistake," the woman said with a smile. "Your name came highly recommended." Tund, as Musa, noticed her walking around that day with a quiet glow. But instead of bragging or boasting, she continued her day as usual, humble, focused, and kind. When she bumped into Musa at the water dispenser, she smiled again. "Good afternoon, sir." "Congratulations," he said in his rough voice. "For what?" "I heard you're traveling for training." She blushed. "Oh, thank you. I still can't believe it. I didn't apply for anything. Maybe someone upstairs noticed your good heart." She looked at him, curious. "You speak like someone who knows more than you're saying." He smiled faintly. "Maybe I just clean and observe." She laughed softly. "Well, thank you, Musa. Your words are encouraging." The day before her departure to Nairobi, Tun decided it was time. He sent Femi ahead with a message: ask her to meet someone special for dinner. Don't tell her who. Just say it's about her future. That evening, Amaka arrived at a quiet rooftop restaurant, confused but curious. A hostess led her to a table where a man in a sleek black suit was already seated. She paused. The man looked familiar but not quite. Then he smiled, and she saw it. "Musa," she whispered in shock.